Hi, I'm Tony Henry again. On the forum, horseforum.com, there was a question on there about working with a head-shy horse. Now this horse here is one I've used before. He's a 20-year-old quarter horse gelding, and when I started working with him a few months back, you couldn't even get near his head. He would raise his head up and back off and wouldn't allow people to halter him or bridle him. One of the reasons for that, I think, is that he has to wear a cribbing collar because he's a chronic cribber. And so right now we've got the collar off of him, but you can kind of see the marks that the cribbing collar occasionally leaves. But it was making him sore up at the pole, and he wouldn't let people work on his head or even touch his head. What I started doing with him was I'd bring him out and get him haltered up, and I'd put some weight on the lead rope here, rub my hand up his head, and go like that. Just up his head, and just like that. And he would jerk his head away, but my hand would already be gone by the time he even got his head jerked up. And after a few minutes, the jerks became less and less, and I worked with him for about 15 or 20 minutes like that for 2 or 3 days, and eventually he quit jerking his head at all. After he quit jerking his head, or his movements were a lot shorter, a lot smaller, I would rub my hand up his forehead and rub it over his ear. And you have to work on both sides. A horse doesn't correlate one side with the other, so what you do on one side, you always have to do the same thing on the other side. But I would start working up and go like that, and eventually got to the point where I could rub around his ears and he wouldn't move his head, and now you can see that he doesn't mind it at all. And that took a matter of just a couple of weeks of working with him, actually a couple of maybe 3 or 4 sessions, a matter of 15 or 20 minutes per session to be able to touch his head, and then over time he's gotten to where he actually likes the inside of his ears rubbed, and he doesn't mind it at all, and he's a joy to ride and a pleasure to even to bridle or anything. Thanks.